how does one make a living lifting weights?
Honestly, the biggest thing right now is going to be...
This week we have Mr. Andy Paredes.
I was really skinny in middle school, believe it or not.
Andy is a professional bodybuilder and fitness coach who in 2025 accomplished the rare and remarkable feat of winning 3 pro bodybuilding titles in just 3 weeks, earning a spot on the Mr. Olympia stage. World's biggest bodybuilding stage. All the top athletes of bodybuilding have stepped on that stage. What was that like? Once a skinny kid with a dream, Andy transformed his body, mindset, and life through years of relentless training, discipline, and self-mastery. Expect to learn how Andy transformed himself from a skinny beginner into a championship-winning professional bodybuilder. Yeah, how do you go about the diet when you're traveling or even on a small vacation or something? We need the hack, bro.
So,
Andy Paredes, baby. What's up, dude? Welcome to the show.
Up, yep, happy to be here.
It was crazy. Last year was your pro debut.
Yeah.
And I was there watching my friend Taylor compete. And after she went on and they were doing classic bodybuilding, they were like, from Fresno, California, Andy Paredes. And I was like, wait, I know that guy. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny because I was training for golf at the time. Like I was doing basically functional shit at the gym, and GB3 was kind of new back then. Mm-hmm. And it's the only type of gym that was here. It was like the only thing. And I remember your work, it was basically you and Jay at the time, right? Mm-hmm. And just getting after it. Like you early, like young, like 13, 14.
Yeah.
And I guess like what got you into lifting weights, bro?
Yeah, I was really skinny in middle school, believe it or not. And, I always got made fun of. And, I was that kid in the weight room class and the PE class who couldn't even bench press the bar. And, I had a lot of like self-confidence issues, like a lot of teenagers probably do, right?
Young men, especially.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, I was getting in trouble a lot at school. And I remember one day, I actually had been suspended from school. So I was at home. I was with my dad.
What did you do?
I don't know, man. I would skip class. I would give my teachers attitude. I would walk out like I was just
trouble.
I was just crazy, bro. But yeah, anyways, he had some weights and stuff in the garage. And
Who?
He's like, my dad.
Okay.
And he's like, yeah, let's just go work out. Let's go do something. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I know I'm super skinny. So, let's just get in there and show me something. And so we did the traditional bicep curls and, just regular bench press, that type of stuff. And I just really got hooked from there, like just getting a pump and training and like doing something that's, self-improvement, right? So that following day, I was like, you know what? I have a membership here at the local gym. Why not just go? And I was
at GB3.
Yeah, GB3. And then I was just hooked. I remember that summer going into freshman year, I was in the gym every single day, sometimes twice a day. And, I just fell in love with it. I was getting stronger. I was getting bigger. I was getting compliments from my buddies about how strong and ripped I am. And I was such a contrast from, everybody making fun of me for how skinny I was. And I just honestly loved being able to, change my body and change my life for the better. And, I actually started hanging out with different people. I was not getting in trouble as much. Originally it just started as an outlet. And then, I kind of found the competitive side a little bit later on.
In terms of the falling in love with it, like what part of it did you love? If in terms of, was it just like a bench press or was it a squat or like, oh, like this bicep curl is sick, like this pump is dope? Like if you had to like articulate it even more.
I think a combination of everything. Obviously you feel really good when you're training, when you got a good sweat going, when you got a good pump going. It's always a good feeling. But honestly, I like the emotional aspect a lot more than the physical aspect. It's for me, it's really easy to go into the gym and just move weight and just train. But I fell in love with the emotional aspect of putting on headphones, really getting in the zone and like really just blocking out everything else in my life that's going on and being able to just get in the gym for an hour or two and like just get to work and, simply cut out any nonsense, any BS, and I could just focus on myself right then and there. And it's like I always have looked at it like a therapy session. And every time I leave the gym, I always feel better about whatever else is going on in my life.
It's like a meditative state.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you kind of get lost.
Yeah. And a lot of people have outlets like that. You see a lot of people, they do like jujitsu, right? Like they go roll and they're like, man, this is so challenging. This is it's out of my comfort zone. Or maybe it's something like yoga. You know, it's a very different thing for that person at the time, and it's very challenging. But at the same time, when you do something that's challenging like that and you complete it, it's very rewarding too. So, you know, when people find something like that, like an outlet, something to challenge themselves, that's when they like start going to jujitsu every day, or they do yoga every week, and it becomes part of their routine, kind of becomes part of who they are.
You could have chosen anything though. There's so many dope things in the world to learn. Like you just said, yoga's sick. Our friends are doing Ironmans and like endurance training. Like, why bodybuilding?
Man, that's a good question. I think you know, I played sports and stuff like that, but you know, ultimately nothing really gave me the fulfillment like bodybuilding did. And like I mentioned, you know, in the beginning, it was just working out with my buddies, just getting as big as I can, as strong as I can, and just really, really having fun. It wasn't until I was 19 and I did my first competition where I was just like hooked for good, because I already had love for training, love for eating, love for everything. I followed the sport very, very closely, and to actually get on stage myself for the first time and not be like a spectator in the crowd, it was like a whole different feeling. You know, I did very, very well, which I think helped, but just seeing what I was capable of, like how far I could push my body, how hard and challenging that first prep was for that show, that gave me all the validation I needed to like want to keep pushing forward. Cause I'm like, this is such a personal challenge that I love. And I love this sport. So, you know, I just want to keep climbing and advancing the ranks. So as soon as I got off stage, you know, from the first competition, I was hooked. I'm like, okay, how do I do a bigger show? How do I come back bigger, more ripped,
More shredded.
more shredded, exactly. And you know, I just got bit by the bug. And so, you know, you do a second show, you do a third, and then before you know it, you're trying to turn professional. And next thing you know, you're a professional and you're in the pro league, and you know, and then you start making a career out of it. So
I don't think people realize like how hard a prep is. Not in terms of the difficulty of it, because it's a pretty simple. Like you work out really hard, you diet really well, and that's it. But just understanding it truly from doing my first show this year was the amount of sacrifice that you have to do in social settings. Like you can't drink really, and you can't like hang out with a ton of friends. Like if you have your programming and your cardio to do and all, it kind of takes over your life.
Yeah, it's like it becomes your whole entire life, especially, you know, when you get to the professional level, because you got to think, you know, you have guys that are putting food on their table for their family, and this is what they're doing. So their whole entire life revolves around this. So it's a huge contrast from someone like that versus, you know, someone getting ready for their first local show. That's hard enough because, you know, like you said, you have to do your cardio in the morning. That's a non-negotiable. You know, you have to follow a very strict regimen. You got to practice your posing. You got to train every day. You got to, you know, send check-ins with your coach. But at the same time, you also got to go to work. You got to pay the bills. You still got to do everything that you would normally doing. So it's almost like having a second full-time job trying to compete and manage all that time.
What were you doing for work?
So when I first started,
Like when you're 19?
yeah, when I first started, even when I was like 16, 17, you know, I was mostly working easy jobs, like working at a gym, working at a supplement store, working at a meal prep company. Essentially, I purposely was looking for jobs where I could just sit there and eat my meals and not have to really do that much. And, you know, I wasn't going to school or anything because I knew I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to. This is what I'm going to do for my career, you know. And
When did you decide that? When did you know?
I think I knew probably when I was like 15, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, like
That's early, dog.
Yeah, once I quit sports, bro, and I was hooked and I was going to the gym every day for like a year and a half.
Didn't miss a day.
Yeah, I just couldn't really, you know, think of anything else that I wanted to do. You know, like you see a lot of people, they don't really have like a passion, right? Like even people our age, right? They might be working a job and they're going to school, and you know, you ask them, what are you going to school for? And they're like,
I don't know.
I don't really know. Like I'm just going to school because, you know, it seems like the responsible thing to do. And then even then they just settle for a job that they don't really love. They just settle for the job because they have to pay the bills and they have to be a responsible adult and they have to make money, obviously. So I knew how much I loved it, and it's just, it's just, I've loved it since then, and I love it even more now, just as much as I did then. So being able to be where I am now and like make a living doing something that I love, it's a blessing, because I see so many people, go to work and they hate their job.
Yeah.
And they're stuck in that cycle. They can't quit their job because they have to pay the bills. And, even people in their later years, 30s, 40s, they haven't found that passion. That
Some never will.
exactly.
Some never will. It was, I interviewed my grandfather yesterday because he's getting older, and I kind of just wanted to have an interview for the family because he doesn't talk much. And it was kind of sad in the sense of like, he has a ton of regrets. He was like, I wish I did this. I wish I did that. And I was like, I never want to have that feeling.
100%.
And I guess for the people who don't know the business side of bodybuilding, how does one make a living lifting weights?
Honestly, the biggest thing right now is going to be social media presence. Back in the day, it was strictly, how good of a competitor you are. You win a big show.
Like Arnold didn't have
Instagram,
Instagram.
TikTok, exactly. So, over the last 5-10 years or so, social media has become such an important presence in our industry, just because like for the consumer, it's like ultimately what can you provide to the consumer that is worth value? Like why is someone going to follow you? Why is someone going to support you and use your discount code and stuff like that? So the biggest thing right now is going to be social media presence. And, I wish I would have started my YouTube channel way
because you're kind of new to it, right?
Yeah, I've had my YouTube channel for a couple of years, but it wasn't until this year where I'm like, you know what? I'm at home all day. Like I have plenty of time. I have my girlfriend to film me. I got an Osmo, the Pocket Osmo.
They're sick.
And I'm like, you know what? I was also working with a video guy, and I was like, you know what? Like I'm spending all this money having him do my videos. I may as well just try to learn this myself. It's such a valuable tool, especially
And skill. It's a valuable skill now too, to be a content creator and to understand how technology works and stuff like that. 100%.
So, I had the Osmo, and I just downloaded CapCut desktop, and I just was like, all right, let's just practice. We filmed a little video. I uploaded it, and it got good feedback and good views. And I'm like, this is actually really easy. Let's keep going. And then, I filmed essentially this whole year, and I went from maybe like 500 subscribers to like 4K, which is not that much, but YouTube subscribers and views are like a lot more valuable than Instagram.
Yeah.
Like 4,000.
They're real fans. YouTube's real fans, bro.
The amount of people I've had at shows or even at the Olympia who come up and they don't even say anything about my physique or my placings or anything. It's all, I watch your YouTube channel.
Oh, really?
I watch your full day of eating.
What's that feeling like?
I watch all your YouTubes, and it's very validating because, sometimes, you can post content and it's like, this didn't perform super well, and it's kind of a letdown. But just knowing that people are watching, even if it's only 100 views, there's someone out there that's potentially reaching, and you're inspiring maybe even one person, to me, that makes the difference.
Yeah, people get caught in the numbers, but you realize each view right there is a human being whose physical eyes has seen that you on their screen.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I feel like, don't really understand that, And I guess for the content creation and stuff and like learning all these skills, how have you learned to like systematize it and like build your brand over it?
Yeah, so like I was saying about the social media presence, obviously the more content you put out, the more you put yourself out there, the more likely your, pages are to grow. And I think the biggest thing for me, especially with the YouTube, is being able to like film everything and be transparent with everything. And it really allows people to almost be like a fly on the wall and see me and my personality like for who I am. Versus if you were to go on my Instagram, you might say, wow, this guy's huge. Okay, he gets on stage. Okay, that's it. But my YouTube, I spend time with my dogs on there. I'm very open and I talk like this. I wake up first thing in the morning and I'm explaining my day and how I'm feeling. Or, I always do post-show recaps on my show day videos, win or lose. I explain, what I'm feeling, what my goals are, and how grateful I am. Stuff like that. And I think people being able to watch and like see my personality and like see myself open up, I think that's when you really start to develop that big fan base, which ultimately leads to people using your codes, people buying products, people supporting you, and ultimately that leads to like the monetary value.
Where do you film all your workouts? Like what gym in Fresno?
So most of the time, I would say my home gym is Trinity Gym.
Trinity, where's that?
It's right here off of Barstow and Blackstone.
Okay.
And super, super nice gym.
They let you film there and everything?
Yeah, that's very, very bodybuilding friendly. Essentially, everyone films there. They have a lot of great equipment. The owner, Steve, I've known him for 10 years. He's a pretty close friend of mine, and he actually let me start training there even before the gym was open. So I trained there pretty much my whole prep, and I film most of my stuff there.
Because one thing I'm so impressed by is like a lot of people move to certain cities to like build their brand, right? And at big gyms that are well known, like across the YouTube world or the US in general. And you've done it in our hometown, bro. So impressive.
Yeah.
And like you've made it work here, and it's kind of cool to see like some hometown representation for Fresno.
It's a double-sided, coin, I guess you could say, because the temptation to move to somewhere like LA or, Austin, Texas, or
Austin's big right now for like all sports, bro,
yeah.
including bodybuilding.
Or somewhere like, Tampa. Tampa's really big with the bodybuilding scene. And it's like, you go to Zoo Culture in LA, and it's like, oh, Bradley Martin's here, Sam Sulik's
That's
here.
where I work at.
Oh, okay.
I work out in Zoo Culture.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. And so you can collab with so many influencers there. And you know how social media works. You make one Instagram post or one YouTube video with someone famous, then your stuff starts to pop off.
Yeah.
Exactly. So all it takes is one video, one collab, and one workout with the right person for you to really start picking up steam. So the temptation is definitely there to move into a bigger market. But at the same time, I am very, very family oriented, and I've been here my whole life, and you know how it is. Like all your close friends are here, all your family's here. And then, I kind of take pride in like wanting to do something that nobody from Fresno has done. I want to be able to not only put myself on the map, but put Fresno on the map as well. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job, but I know there's a whole lot more to go. And I would love to be, extremely, extremely popular with my social medias and be very, very well known in the industry and still be here locally in Fresno. I think that's awesome.
One person who does a great job of that's Christian Guzman with Alphalete. Like he has all his stuff in a small area in Texas, not like a big city like Austin or anything. And I think it's possible, and it's like super cool for you to do and see.
Yeah.
In terms of community base, what is it? How important is it to have the like right community behind you during like any aspect of training? Because back in the day during high school, it was like you and Jay doing your thing. I guess like have you cultivated a good community for like training partners? Are training partners important? How important is like having a good solid coach and just the rest of the community as well?
I would say like the single most important thing in bodybuilding is the team that you have behind you. So whether that be training partner, obviously coach, and then significant other are going to be, three of the most important things that you can have, especially the significant other and the coach as well. The coach is going to take you where you need to go. The coach, gives you the motivation that you need on maybe a day that you're feeling down. The coach handles everything and guides the ship and allows you to be just an athlete and follow the plan. Obviously, the significant other plays a huge role in holding you down mentally, being there for you, when you have a rough day, when you're tired on prep, when you have self-doubt, they're there to pick you up, with the right partner at least. And then obviously training partner, I honestly like training alone personally. But
why do you like training alone?
I love having a training partner as well, just because you get to socialize a little bit, which is cool, but it's mainly like they push me, I push them, and it's very, very fun. But I also don't mind training alone because, like I said, I have that emotional attachment to the gym and to that training session. So when I'm training alone, I have my headphones in and I don't have to talk to anyone, right? So I could just be alone, like with my thoughts, and really kind of get deep in that therapy session. Versus when I have a training partner, we're able to train very, very hard together, and push each other. And that's what I love too. I've had so many good training partners over the years, and it's really important, especially deep in the prep when you may not have the energy to push. They're there to pick you up and, help you keep going.
I've never had a training partner because I've never been able to align schedules. And I guess, like, how do you get someone to be on your schedule, on your time to, like, do the thing? Because as adults, we're busy, bro. You have to go to work. You have to do the thing. How does one find, like, a solid training partner?
Yeah, I think there has to be compromises on both ends. But for me, like, I don't compromise my schedule, especially in prep for anyone.
Yeah.
Even if it's, my training partner and he's like, hey, bro, I'm going to run an hour late. Can we go an hour later? I'm like, sorry, bro.
Yeah.
I can't. Like, I'm on a very, very strict schedule here. But as far as like making it work, like what I do with my training partner now, and I will agree with you, as I've gotten older and, people have more responsibilities. They might have kids. They might have 2 jobs. It's very hard to be like, hey, Monday morning, 10 a.m. It's like, sorry, bro, I'm at work. Or I got my kids. It's not as easy as just picking up the phone and scheduling something like that. So with my training partner, Manny, now, he's off. I know what days he's off. So he's off, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. So we always train at least 3 times a week. And then the other days, because I only train 5 days a week, I'll usually do by myself. Or maybe I'll, text a buddy and say, hey, are you free on Sunday? I'm going to do a leg day. And I'll give them a couple of days in advance. And, they may respond, they may not. And then occasionally I will be able to link up with someone and train with them because our schedules align. But you have to be comfortable with training by yourself, because most times, it's like very hard to align schedules with someone.
And then the other thing is like aligning training styles. Like, you have your own programming. Someone else probably has their own programming. How do you decide, like, do I go off my programming to do a move that he wants to do? Like today I got to do like hamstring curls, but he wants to do like RDLs or something like that. Like, do you always stick to like one, like if it's on the list of exercises to do by your coach, that's the only thing we're doing there?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And usually anyone I train with, they're very, very courteous, and they always tell me, hey, bro, I'm following you. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, even if they're on a certain training split, I've had guys where it's like maybe they're supposed to do chest that day, but I invite them to come do back, and they're like, all right, I'll just do chest tomorrow instead. And I'll change my whole entire split. That way I can just come train with you.
Nice.
And then as far as exercise selection, they're like, hey, bro, you're the one on prep. Like, you pick whatever movements you want, I'll follow you. Or, hey, bro, you're the pro. I'll just follow you.
Is it different on prep and out of prep in terms of working out?
I would say I'm a little bit more open. Like right now in the off season, like I'll train after 1 meal, for example. Most of the time in prep, it's always after 2 meals. I'll drive maybe 30 minutes to a different gym just to try it out. I'll work out with one of my clients occasionally. And just have a little bit more freedom. And then maybe I'll try a movement that I've been wanting to try. But on prep, everything is so particular that, you want to stick to those same movement patterns. You want to train at the same time. You want to, everything has to be like identical from a day-to-day basis. So, on prep, it's a lot harder to, go somewhere and train or get out of your routine. So I try to keep everything the same in prep, but in the off season, it's a little bit more lenient.
Do you do 14 weeks?
I usually prep for like 20 weeks.
20 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for me, we're on plan, we're on diet all year round, so like the whole year, I just limit myself to 1 free meal a week. I send check-ins to my coach, multiple times a week all year round. Cause you got to think like this is my career at this point. So there is no, downtime of like, oh, for the next 3 months, I'm not going to talk to my coach. I'm just going to do my own thing. And then when I'm ready to get on stage again, then I'll message him. It's like every single day counts.
So I guess what's the difference between like when you were an amateur, literally, was that just a little bit over a year ago?
I turned pro in 2023.
2023, about 2 years ago. What's the difference between being an amateur to being a pro? Your mindset, your routine, your everything. Like, what's the difference?
When I was a bit younger, like 19, 20, and I was first doing these couple shows, it was one of those things where I'd message my coach, who was obviously a different coach at the time than from what I have now. But I would message him, 3 months out from a show, like, hey, this is the one I want to do. and then we would just prep for the show and then do it. Then afterwards, like I wouldn't talk to him for the whole year. I would go eat a bunch of food. I would go back to that perma bulk where I'm just eating ice cream and eating whatever and still getting my protein in, but just, you know, not really following a diet per se. Now it's very, very, it's locked in all year round. You know, it's like supplementation, cardio, check-ins, posing, diet. It's all year round. It does not stop. You know, even if I go on a vacation for 3 days, it's like I'm bringing my food scale with me. I'm bringing my body weight scale. I'm sending check-ins wherever I am.
Yeah. How do you go about the diet when you're traveling or even on a small vacation or something?
So
we need the hack, bro.
yeah. So if we're in the off season and we have a little bit more freedom, you can essentially just, you know, make sure the macros are properly. The food sources aren't super, super important. For example, if, you know, one of your meals calls for chicken and rice. Well, if you're out of town and you're like, I'm going to just eat what's around, you know, you can go to a restaurant, order like a fish and a potato or something like that, because it's going to be very, very similar regardless. And you're not in a contest prep, so it's not like super important that it's exactly the same. But as far as like if you're on a prep and you're traveling, you know, you have to pack your meals with you. You have to bring your food scale with you. And normally, you know, when I get to my Airbnb or hotel or wherever I'm staying, first stop is the grocery store. Let's get all the foods that I need, all the foods that I eat. And then you pretty much just set yourself up as if you were at home. You know, you might train at a different gym or sleep in a different bed, but the meals are exactly the same. Food is exactly the same. And, you know, if you want to stay on your plan, you will. It's very easy to deviate when you're on vacation. But it kind of just depends the setting. If you're on prep, obviously, it's going to be a lot more, you know, to the T. If you're in the off season, like sometimes like I might just go get breakfast somewhere and just have like a cleaner breakfast. I might order like an omelet or something with a slice of toast and, you know, still be able to enjoy breakfast with my significant other, but also not eat like a, you know, exactly. So
there's so many people who just like eat all the time in restaurants every single day and just eat whatever. They don't understand like a calorie or protein or a carb that goes in. They're like, I don't know how you do that. Like, what's your response to that?
Man, honestly, it's kind of like a running joke at this point. My girlfriend and I talk about it. It's to the point now.
Also, shouts out to your girlfriend, because anyone who dates bodybuilders, bro, it's a different game. They're part of it too.
Yeah. Oh no, it's her full-time job to babysit me and take care of me. I mean, I cook all my own meals and I, you know, do everything I need to do. But like, man, I'm like having her help me out with everything. She helps film me. You know, anything I need, you know, I could call her and be like, hey, I need this. Or,
that's awesome.
Like everyone asks that, you know, it's like we go out in public anywhere and it's like, hey, you're a bodybuilder, huh? Yeah, you know, I am.
That's nice that you could, I mean, it just shows now. Like before when we were like 19, 20, they're just like, you just work out.
Yeah.
Now they know.
It's to the point where I can't really hide it. So even if I wear like a big hoodie, I tell my girlfriend, hey, I'm going to wear a hoodie because I don't really want the attention. She's like, people can still tell. They can still tell that you're a bodybuilder even in a hoodie. But you know, a lot of the questions, it's like, oh, so does that take like a lot of discipline? Like, do you have to? Do you eat pretty clean? I'm like, yeah, I eat pretty clean. And they're like, oh, so how does that work? Like, what do you eat? Just chicken? And I'm like,
do you love and hate the question at the same time?
It depends, man.
Because it is your life and you do love it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the questions do get pretty redundant, and it's always the same questions over and over.
And it's probably weekly at this point.
Oh, it's daily at this point.
Daily at this point.
I have this kind of funny story. I don't want to get too off track, but it's like to the point where like we go and do anything, Tiana and I, my girlfriend, and it always gets brought up. Even if I don't want to really talk about it, like I just want to enjoy the activity moment that we're doing, it gets brought up. You know, whatever. We're at a restaurant. I'm trying to put the order in. The guy's like, "Hey, bro, like how much you bench?" The waiter. I'm like, "Come on, man. I'm just trying to order food." Anyways, her friend had a wedding like 2 weeks ago, and I don't know any of these people because these are her friends, and none of them really work out. You know, they're into like horses and rodeo, and you know all the guys wear cowboy hats and boots. So I'm like, this is totally out of my realm.
Yeah,
these guys don't know who I am. They don't know that I compete. This is going to be refreshing to go spend time with like we're not going to talk about the gym at all this whole wedding. So I'm excited. The moment we park, we get out of the car, there's this security guard, and he's like, telling the cars where to go or whatever. As soon as we get out of the car, the security guard yells, "Hey, bro, natty or not?" And I'm like, first of all, bro, like, I don't even know who you are, and that's the first question you're going to ask me. So I'm just like, man, people just have like no filter, and I'm just like, man, yeah, I just can't escape this. At this point.
mean, at this point, because the product is you.
Yeah. Or even yesterday, we went to go buy some shoes because I had gotten a gift card from one of my friends for my birthday. We're just in there looking at shoes, and the worker, instead of helping me find the right pair of shoes, he's like, "Hey, bro, so you're a bodybuilder? Like, how much you bench? And like, what do you eat? You eat a lot of food." And then it turns into a 20-minute conversation, and you can't be rude, obviously. I try to answer, very genuinely, and I try to, give them as much advice as I can.
Yeah.
But when it's the questions like how much you bench, how much you eat, it's like...
Some people go a little too hard with it.
Yeah.
I was at an LA Fitness 3 weeks ago, and I'm pretty strong for my size. I squatted 315 for like 12 reps, and this guy comes up and he was asking so many questions, and like sometimes you're just trying to get your own workout in.
Yeah.
And like it's cool that we could do like these movements at a very high level, but hey, dude, just work on your own thing. Like you'll get there.
Yeah, exactly.
For everyone out there who's trying to get extremely fit and strong, if you had to choose like 10 bodybuilding movements or movements in general to like build a strong, fit, healthy body, not obviously to your level, what would those 10 movements be?
10 movements. So I would say definitely probably 2 movements for each muscle group.
Okay.
So we'll start off with legs. I would say some form of, because there's so many exercises you could do for legs.
A ton.
I would say if you only get to choose 2, I would do some form of squat. So whether that be a Smith squat, a barbell squat, something like that. And then I would probably say like a lunge, because a lunge is also going to hit the quads, the hamstrings, the glutes.
What's the benefit to doing a barbell squat versus a Smith machine or something like that?
Probably just being able to be more stable.
Okay.
Free weights, obviously, like you have to balance it. You have to use more stabilizers, and one would argue that a free weight squat is overall more taxing because it's more of a full body workout. Versus if you do squats on a Smith machine, you can align your feet how you need it. You can really target your quads, and being that it's on a Smith machine, it's on a track. There's usually a lot more tension on a Smith machine versus
so for like a
beginner,
which one do they choose?
I would say probably either one, really. I think there is some merit to learning how to just do a barbell squat for ankle mobility, for spinal health. I think, people, even just a normal person, should be able to squat, at least their own body weight for a decent amount of reps. And then as far as the other movements go for back, I would just say probably like pull-ups and some form of a row. Obviously arms, you have your bicep curls, your tricep push downs or dips.
Okay, we're at 6.
And then for chest, I would say 1 incline press probably, and then 1 chest fly variation. Personally, I don't really flat bench at all.
Why is that? That's trending right now.
Yeah, I think just the risk reward is not really worth it in my opinion, because how many people do you see, even just normal people, not even competitors,
hurting themselves,
hurt their shoulder or
elbow,
they tear their pec, or they have some form of joint pain from doing heavy bench press. And there's so many other movements that you can actually target your chest, isolate your chest without destroying every other joint in your body.
So we got, real quick, we got squat, we got lunge, we got pull-ups, some side of row, we got a curl for biceps,
push down.
So we're at 6.
And then some type of incline press movement for chest fly. Okay. And then shoulders is easy. Shoulders is going to be some form of a shoulder press and some form of a side raise.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would go
You don't train abs at all?
No, I train abs almost every day. I guess if we're going to throw that in, even just doing like hanging leg raises and planks, really, really isolate the core.
Do you do planks?
Yeah, I do everything, bro. I take my midsection training very, very seriously. So
if someone wants a 6-pack, I think that's the most aesthetically pleasing thing in the human body, because most people don't have a 6-pack.
Yeah.
A lot of people have big legs, a lot of people have big arms, a lot of people have a big back, but there's not a lot of people who have a 6-pack. And I guess for someone who has a desire to have shredded abs, how do they do that?
I mean, the main thing is going to be being in a caloric deficit for long enough to where your body fat is low enough to where you can have visible abs. Everyone has abs. They may not be as developed as the next person if you don't train them. But if you get, like, as you know, you just did a show, the lower body fat you get, the more muscles appear. The abs are under there for anyone, even if you weigh 500 pounds. If you lose enough body fat,
They'll be there.
You'll have visible abs.
But in terms of training them,
I think a lot of people just simply neglect them because they're like, oh, well, you don't really need to train abs because abs are made in the kitchen. But in my mind, training abs are just like any other muscle. You wouldn't say that about your calves. You wouldn't just say, oh, well, the calves are under there, so when I diet down, they'll be there. It's like, no, you still train calves with a progressive overload, and you do try to, improve on your calves. I treat my abs the same way. So every workout, usually in the beginning or at the end, I'm always doing some form of crunch, some form of plank, leg raise, a lot of core work, and then also every morning I do vacuums as well. So that's just training the transverse abdominals. You've probably seen it.
I saw your video on it.
Yeah, it's extremely important. It helps not only.
It's so hard too, bro.
Yeah.
Like I was training them for my last 3 weeks of prep, and I just put my hands on like the counter, really try to suck up, and it kind of hurts.
It does. Yeah.
It hurts so much,
Yeah.
bro. It's such a aesthetically pleasing pose, though.
Yeah. When you throw up like a front double pose and you're able to hit a vacuum, it just makes it look so much better. So especially someone like me who's like, a placing can make or break you, or one pose can decide if you win a show or lose. I have to try to have every little advantage that I can. So if I can do this one thing that makes my waist or makes my physique look that more aesthetically pleasing, then I have to do it. So like 2 years ago, I couldn't hit a vacuum at all. I was like sucking in as hard as I can. And
Literally just 2 years ago.
yeah, 2 years ago. Like when I turned pro, my stomach, it just looked like normal. And then I just cranked the vacuums every morning, every night for like a year and a half. And then finally
Every day.
Yeah. Finally at my pro debut, I was like, when I got lean enough and I was able to like actually suck it up and hit it. And it wasn't until I was like 6 weeks out where I first saw it. And I was like, no way I can hit a vacuum now. And now it's to the point where I could, like, even deep in my off season when I'm really heavy, I can still pull the vacuum.
Yeah.
It's just training it, honestly.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing. I think anyone can do it.
Given the low body fat percentage.
Exactly. Yeah. Obviously, if you have a bunch of fat on your midsection, you try to suck it up.
Not going to do anything.
Yeah, it's not going to disappear.
How is it stepping on the world's biggest bodybuilding stage, bro? Arnold Schwarzenegger stepped on that stage. C-Bum stepped on that stage. All the top athletes of bodybuilding have stepped on that stage, and you just did it this year for the first time. What was that like?
I would say the main thing I took away from it was just, how grateful I am to obviously be able to do it, but seeing the level of athletes that are there was truly, truly inspiring for me. Because I've obviously won pro shows and I've won amateur shows and I've turned professional, but like now being that little fish in that big pond, like I'm seeing guys, obviously there's backstage before everyone goes out there. Guys are pumping up and stuff like that. And I'm seeing these guys, and I keep it very, very real with myself. I'm looking at these physiques, and I'm telling myself, like, I'm just not there yet. These guys are just bigger, they're rounder, they're drier, they're harder than me. And then that shows, on the stage. Like, these guys just have more maturity. They've been in the game longer than me. Obviously, genetics play a huge role as well. So I left there being extremely motivated, knowing like, yes, I made it here, and I'm proud of the work I've done as an athlete. But at the same time, I know how much more work needs to be done. So like literally the same day after the show, I was done at like 2 p.m. We went and trained like right after.
You're motivated.
I literally went home, showered off my tan, ate a meal, got my gym clothes on, and we trained right after.
What did you learn from being around that caliber of athlete in the back? Like, are they doing anything different than you were? No,
I think, it's bodybuilding and competitive bodybuilding especially is just a game of time. Anyone who's like really, really good at that top level, they've been in the game for a long time, unless they're like a genetic anomaly and, they've been competing for 2 years and they're already the best in the world. That's just simply God-given genetics that, you can't teach, you can't build. That's just simply genetics. they look at a dumbbell and they grow muscle. So I would say the main.
You have pretty good genetics too, though, bro.
I think
I remember when I saw you at GB3 back in the day, and your insertion points, like back then for like your abs and everything, were great at 17, 18.
Yeah. Well, everyone has like different genetic components. There's so many different things you could have that are good or bad genetic wise. Like, you're just talking about, muscle insertions, right? Like where the muscle inserts, but there's also a genetic component to like how easily you put on body fat, or how easily you can pull body fat off. How high your appetite is, how low it is, strength in the gym, height, bone structure. There's so many different aspects
Of genetics.
and everyone, is dealt a set of cards. So, bodybuilding is just about being able to play those set of cards to the best of your abilities, and, maximize your strengths, and, making sure your weaknesses are as good as they can be. Because ultimately, if someone has like really, really bad arm genetics, like Chris Bumstead gets a lot of crap for this because his bicep insertions aren't very good. He was still able to win 6 Mr. Olympias because he did the best. He did the best that he could with what he had.
Yeah.
He wasn't like, oh, I have bad bicep genetics, I'm going to just give up. He maximized everything else to the best he could, and he's still able to win. Yeah. So everyone has, some genetic component that's either good or bad, So even for someone like you might, I'm going to just take a guess, you might get lean super easily, but then in the off season, like, you just can't eat because you just don't have the appetite.
Yeah, it was hard to put down 6 meals, even though it was like less calories.
Yeah. So like everyone has a different genetic component, or a lot of guys, like they have, when it comes to insertions, they train legs like maniacs and they just can't grow legs. Or most of the time you see it in calf training. You see some guys like a 45-year-old dad at a barbecue. He's got calves this big.
Huge.
He's never trained calves.
Calves in his life.
And then I'm over here training calves every single day for like 5 years, and it looks like they haven't grown at all. A lot of that's just genetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What weaknesses would you say that you have genetically that you are trying to like max out?
I would say
Obviously every body part, but
yeah, I would say when it comes to just like strictly genetics, it would be my tricep insertions. They're good, but my triceps aren't, the way they insert, I'm trying to explain this so the viewer can kind of understand. Some guys have like really, really thick triceps. So where they insert, it almost goes like all the way down to the elbow. So when they actually build their triceps up, all that muscle like takes up like almost their whole arm, versus someone like myself, like my tricep genetics, they insert kind of high. So they're like around my elbow, it looks very, very shallow. No matter how big I get my triceps, it's always going to look kind of flat towards my elbow. So that's a genetic component that I have that I'm just trying to, do the best that I can with. And then the other genetic component that I have that I think kind of holds me back is like where my lats kind of insert. I think I have higher lat insertions. So essentially all that means is that, you see some guys, their lat goes all the way down to like their butt, and they have this huge V taper. It looks like a
versus
Dorito.
Like in a higher insertion.
Yeah, higher.
But Ryan Terry has a super high like.
So yeah, you're able to still, work with it. It just takes some time. Even, the guy who just won this year, Ramon Dino, he kind of has high lat insertions, and he was still able to win the Olympia. So you just have to really make the most of what you have and just maximize your genetics to the best that you can.
Which bodybuilders do you look up to that are your heroes? You're a fan of the sport too, as well, I'm assuming.
Yeah, for sure. I would say when I first started watching, I was really, really big on like Phil Heath, Jay Cutler. Even now, I admire them. I watch all their stuff still.
Jay Cutler has a pretty big podcast as well.
I watch his podcast religiously. I also like old school guys too, like Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman, Flex Wheeler, Kevin Levrone. That the cool thing about bodybuilding and what makes it unique is that every single physique on that stage has like something that you can admire. Even if they're not winning, you could say, "Oh, I really like this guy's, say, legs. He has the craziest legs." he may not even be the winner, but like I really like this bodybuilder because of how he trains his legs and how they look. I find that very inspiring. And you could say the same for, oh, this guy has crazy arms. I want my arms to look like this one day. And you could just take like little things from each person, because everyone's physique and everyone's genetics are different. So no two physiques are ever going to look the same. So yeah.
Do you recommend bodybuilding to everybody? Like you growing your audience on YouTube or social media, is it something for everybody? Should everyone do it?
In the form of competitive bodybuilding?
Yes.
I would say 100% no. Competitive bodybuilding is definitely not for everyone. I think anyone can do it. Like as far as barrier to entry, like if you want to sign up for a show and you want to get low body fat, I think anyone can do it. Simply just putting your mind to the goal and just not deviating from the plan. I think anyone could do it, no matter the age, no matter the genetics. But a lot of people, they just don't do well with restriction. They have a lot of self-doubt. They put too much internal pressure on themselves when it comes to competing. They overthink a lot of things. You know, you'll see someone that like overanalyzes every little thing, and you know, they stress out about a lot of things. It's just very, very hard to do. It's hard mentally. It's hard physically. Like you said, it takes a lot of sacrifice. And you know, the sad reality of it is that most people who compete, they're not going to make a living doing it. They're not going to be, you know, a top professional. So that's why you see a lot of people, like they do one show and they're just like, that was rewarding. It was really, really hard. I'm glad I did it. But like, there's not a future for me doing this. I might do it as a personal challenge, but like a lot of people aren't going to be able to turn professional, make a living doing it and compete for say 10 years.
I remember I think you posted a short recently that you're talking about how there's a lot of people in the sport who just want to get a pro card and they're done, or do that first show and then they're done. But you're like, nah, this is I live and breathe this shit.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess where does that, fire come from?
Honestly, it doesn't really come from anywhere beside how much I love the sport. You know, like I always say, you know, to you know, when I get asked this question, it's like, if there was no monetary value in bodybuilding at all, you know, there's no money to be made. Let's say there was no social media. So I can't post anything. Nobody knows what I look like. I'm not doing this for any type of validation. I can simply only just go to the gym and bodybuild, and it's only for me. I would literally still be doing what I'm doing right now.
Why?
Just because I love it so much. I love the personal challenge. I love pushing my body and my mind to the limit day after day. I love having a goal. I love looking at my physique every day in the mirror and, you know, seeing where can I improve? How can I get better? And then I always just look forward to training. You know, training is just the highlight of my day always. You know, my day does not feel complete, you know, unless I go to the gym. So I just think like I have this obsessive love over how much, you know, I enjoy the monotony of bodybuilding and doing the same thing over and over again and just getting incrementally better week after week, month after month. That you know, that drive just comes from within, truly, because I truly have a passion for it. So I think when you find an athlete like that, that's when you see that real progression, and that's when you see, you know, a world-class physique and a physique that can, you know, take it to those high levels and compete with the best in the world, because they have love for the game. So even if it gets hard, even when it's challenging, even when they're not motivated, it's like they love the sport, so they're going to go do it regardless of their situation and their circumstance.
I think it teaches people so much about life if they decide to do a show, because you have to literally dedicate 100%. It's consistency day in and day out, and most people like don't do that with any aspect of their life. You know, I guess, what are the lessons that you've taken away from bodybuilding just in terms of life?
Well, for one, time management is a huge thing. You know, obviously, you know, I love doing it and stuff, but it's very, very time consuming, like you mentioned before. And, you know, you still have to get other things done. You know, a lot of us don't have the luxury to just eat, sleep, and train all day, and that's all we have to do. You know, that's the only priority that we have. That's not the case for most of us. So,
are you balancing coaching as well on the side?
Yeah, exactly. So like I'm able to put a lot of effort into my clients, especially after the shows, because, You know, obviously I'm not as high strung and there's not as much going on. There's a lot less travel. So I'm able to take on more clients, give the clients that I have even more attention, which is really, really good. But I would say time management is probably the biggest thing, like being able to get all your meals in, train every day, do what you need to do, but also at the same time, like still go to work, still make money, still balance relationships with your life, you know, with your parents, with your friends, with your relatives, and still have some type of balance and normalcy to your life, I would say is the biggest thing.
What's the philosophy on, I guess, eating? There's so many diets that are like people are like only whole foods, only I'm okay with like certain types of whey protein or any aspect. I guess like for yourself, what is the best type of diet for the goal of like building the biggest, strongest, most leanest body?
I think obviously having a high protein diet is going to be the most important. You know, you're not going to be able to build muscle without protein. So you have to be able to make sure you're getting enough protein in. Also, I think a lot of people are too scared to eat carbs. They look at carbs like
A devil.
yeah, like obviously cookies and, you know, junk food, that's different.
Yeah.
All carbs are not created equal. But, you know, whole foods, like you said, so oatmeal, rice, potatoes, those are all like very, very healthy carbs. That's actually going to fuel your body. Your body actually needs those carbs to function. And it also needs those carbs to produce muscle tissue. So you can't have one without the other. You can't do, you know, a bunch of protein, no carbs, and or vice versa. So I think just having a very, very well-balanced diet with veggies, with fruits, with high protein, with the amount of carbs that you need, depending on what phase you're in. Obviously, if you're in a bulking phase and you want to put on size, you want to put on strength, that carb intake is going to need to be a little bit higher. And then obviously, if you're on the other end of the spectrum and, you know, you're trying to lose body fat, maybe you're trying to diet for summertime or you're getting ready for a competition, obviously those carbs are going to have to get tapered down at some point, because you do need to be in a caloric deficit to lose body fat.
Do you think it's like do you think it's not one version for everybody? Like they could decide. For me, I ate the same meals every single day for, I guess, the 6 months or whatever, same types of food, or it was like literally just like chicken breasts, ground beef, tilapia, and like that was all my sources of protein. And I just did it because my coach said so, and the coach drives like the car,
Exactly.
right? Like you said. But I was just like, I mean, I feel like I could do this with more variation, but he was like, nah, like your body's used to this. Like I was like, I just trusted him, and I did really well in the show. But I guess in your opinion, like what is that accurate?
I would say for like a lifestyle person just trying to like eat healthy, you can have so much variation.
Okay.
Like you could literally eat salmon, cod, tilapia, ground beef, ground turkey, chicken breast, shrimp, whey isolate, egg whites. There's so many different forms of protein. But like in your scenario, like in a contest prep, you actually kind of want to minimize those variables. Like, so if like every single morning you're switching up your breakfast, you're doing, you know, egg whites one morning, then the next morning you're doing shrimp, the next day you're doing chicken.
Yeah.
What if you wake up with a digestion issue one day? You're going to be like, oh, was that from the egg whites? Was that from the shrimp? Now I don't even know. So when you keep all the variables the same, like your coach was having you do, because everything was going so well, you didn't have any digestion issues, you don't want to add in any like random variable.
Don't create your problems.
Exactly. So like if it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah.
So even
So for you, do you have a high variable diet, or do you stick to the same meals of every single day, same thing?
Yeah, right. I mean, most of the time it is the same thing every single day. Right now in the off season, even in prep too, like I have substitution options. I could do, you know, either jasmine rice or potato, or in the morning it can be oats or bread. I usually do sourdough. So it kind of just depends. I usually just eat the foods that I enjoy. Most mornings I prefer oats over sourdough, but then, you know, some mornings I just want a slice of bread with some eggs, and, you know, that's what I'm craving that day. But for the most part, yeah, you want to keep the foods the same, especially in a contest prep setting, and just minimize those variables.
I never ate oatmeal before doing a bodybuilding prep, bro. I had learned to love oatmeal. It was like the best meal of the day.
Yeah,
like
so
80
filling.
times.
Yeah.
And then like you could just use 0-calorie sweetener or like some cinnamon. I was like, this tastes like candy.
Yeah.
It's crazy how your brain like restructures your taste buds, because like the way I felt about like eating cake was how I felt about oats and 0-calorie maple syrup in the morning. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy that my brain's thinking this way.
Yeah. And you look forward to those meals too. Like when you were probably say 1 week out or 2 weeks out, you're probably going to bed like, oh, I can't wait to have my oatmeal in the morning.
Yeah.
You look forward
You looked
to it.
so excited.
Yeah.
You did so many shows this year, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know one athlete or bodybuilder personally who's done that much volume.
Yeah.
Do you think that was beneficial to you to do that many shows before the Olympia?
Yeah, I think it was, honestly, especially the first 3, obviously, because we won all 3 of them.
In 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, in 3 weeks.
Like, why? What inspired you to do 3 in 3 weeks?
So that was the original plan, which is we picked out, these 3 shows, because obviously when you're show ready, especially, as a pro, you don't want to just compete once and then shut it down. You diet for 5 months and you're already ready. You may as well hit as many as you can, try to get a win, try to, stand in front of different judges. There's a lot of different reasons why you want to do multiple shows besides the point that you're already ready. And if you can afford it and you have the means to do it, do as many shows as you can and just run the gauntlet, right?
You don't think it's detrimental though to do that many shows? Because in my opinion, or I guess my experience, you have to like carb load each time. And like, I don't know what that does to affect the body. I haven't done it enough, so I don't truly understand. Like for you as a pro, like, do you think you could just continuously like carb load, do the show, reset, carb load, do the show? Cause I kept seeing your shit, bro. And I was like, how's he continuing to do this cycle again and again, week after week?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does take a toll on the body. I will say, I don't think it's sustainable to just do like show after show after show, like all year round, obviously. Yeah. But for my scenario specifically, in January, we had picked out these shows. Okay, we're going to do this show May 24th. Then we're going to hit this show May 31st. And then we're going to do this Oklahoma show June 7th. So that was the plan all along. Obviously, we don't know that we're going to win. So we go do the first one and we win. And I was like, oh, I'm going to the Olympia. This is amazing.
How was that first pro win, by the way?
Definitely probably the highlight of my career to this point. After the pre-judging, I was in the middle, obviously, it looked like I was going to win, but you never know with these shows. You never know how it goes. You might think,
if people don't know what he's talking about, pre-judging is the first time on, you could explain it.
So there's every show you do, there's pre-judging and finals. Pre-judging is like where the show is won or lost. Pre-judging is where, the judge is right here in the microphone. He's calling out the poses and you're pretty much going up against everyone. You're being compared,
if you're in the center, rarely post show or the second round, what's it called?
Finals. Yeah.
Finals is rarely switched. Like,
exactly.
Prejudging is like where the action happens.
And prejudging, if you guys are ever watching a bodybuilding show, if you're at a prejudging and the person you're there supporting gets moved into the middle, that's a good thing.
Everyone gets hyped up.
Yeah. If you get moved to the middle, that essentially means, okay, you're in the mix to win this. It's usually you in the middle or maybe you and another guy splitting the center. So it's like, I could be first or second here.
Yeah.
So I was in the middle the whole time, but I split the middle with this other guy. And, everyone in my circle keeps it real with me. And after I got off stage, they were showing me the pictures and the videos. And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, no, bro, you got this. You got this. And I'm like, don't hype me up. Don't blow smoke. Just tell me what you really think. And my coach is like, bro, I'm not going to tell you anything. You'll just see later. Like, I think you got it. But, obviously we're not going to get our hopes up. We still want to come back to finals and like get the job done, right? Finish the job. So we go to the finals. They do a rejudge. So essentially they do prejudging over again. They compare us again, call out the poses, whatever. And then I was in the middle, same thing. And they line us up. They start doing awards. So they start with 5th place. Okay, wasn't me. 4th place, 3rd place. And it was me and the guy who I was in the middle with the whole time. We were the last 2 guys there. And in my mind, I'm like, they're going to call my name for a second. I've already accepted it. Like,
why did it go there?
I tend to try to not get my hopes up because I don't want to be let down. So I don't want to be thinking like, oh, I'm 100% going to win. And then they call me for second and then it's like a gut punch. I'd rather expect to get second. And then if they call me for second, I'm content with that. And it doesn't hurt as much. And then if they do call me for first, I'm like, oh my goodness, they called me for first. That's amazing. So I was number 12 and he was I was number 11 and he was number 12. And I remember they're like in second place, number 12. And I thought, that's not my number. And then I see him kind of walk up and start taking his award. And then right then and there, it just hit me. I was like, oh, I'm the last man standing. Like, I know what this means. And then, yeah, they're like, and winning the show, blah, 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 11, from Fresno. And I remember walking to the center and, they put the medal on your neck and stuff. And as she's putting the medal on my neck, I look at the stage and I see that I'm standing in the center, and it all kind of just hit me right there. I started getting emotional already. And then, obviously they have you take your photos and do your interview and stuff. And I remember getting off stage, all the expediters, all the competitors are, congratulations, good job, good job. And then my coach actually and my girlfriend, they ran backstage. I don't even know how they got back there. And I turned my head, and my coach is like right there. And I could tell he was kind of emotional because this was his first time having a professional athlete win a pro show. So I'm
no way. So it's his win just as much as yours.
Exactly. So it's his first Olympian. It's his first pro win. Same. So he's feeling the exact same thing I'm feeling. We both invest.
Shouts out Prod.
Yeah. We both invest, equally into this. So he just daps me up, and I just fall into his arms, and I'm just bawling my eyes out. I'm just like uncontrollably crying, just like I don't even know what happened. My girl is actually filming it on the Osmo for the YouTube, and it's on there. But I was just blown away. I didn't have words, obviously, because there's so many emotions. Like, all the work you've done over 10 years finally, like, culminates into this one moment. And I'm also trying to take the moment in, but then at the same time, it's like, oh, I'm going to the Mr. Olympia. Like, what even just happened? And
it's all these years of work too, since you were 14, bro.
Yeah. So
that's a long time. It's over a decade.
Yeah. And it happened so quick, that moment, you just can't really find the words when it does happen. I just really wanted to let Prob know. I was like, man, thank you for everything, bro. Like, thank you for taking me here. Thank you for, like, you changing I remember I was telling him, I was like, you changed my career, bro. Like, thank you so much. Like, I wouldn't be here without you. And, he was just giving me positive encouragement, because obviously I'm like super emotional crying. And he's like, you deserve this, bro. Like, you worked for this. Like, this won't be our last win. Like, you earned this. You put in the work. Like, nobody deserves it more than you. So it was like a really, really like cool moment to share with him. And then obviously with my girlfriend too, because she's been there since I was an amateur, losing amateur shows. And then she was there when I turned pro. And
how many losses until you got one?
I lost my first 3 shows, and then finally my 4th one in 2022, the Mr. California. That's when I won my first overall, and that was like really, really big. And then the next year I turned professional. That was like a huge milestone.
What motivates you to keep going, bro, after those, I guess, first 3 losses?
Just like I said, before, just the love, bro. I could lose 50 times in a row. Like, I'm still going to get up and like keep going, because ultimately I don't really bodybuild for the placing. The placing is kind of just like it's kind of just like an afterthought, really. I love the process of bodybuilding. If there was no stage, I would still do it. If I got dead last, I would still do it. Like, I just got 33rd place out of 67 guys at the Olympia.
This is the biggest stage of bodybuilding, though, bro.
But a lot of times that you might have an athlete that gets 30 something place, and they're just like completely devastated. They're discouraged, and that causes them to just stop, because it leaves them with a bad taste in their mouth. I don't think that way. The way my brain is wired, I'm like, bro, I love this shit so much. Like, I'm going to the gym today. I can't wait to improve, and I can't wait to come back next year and work my way up the ranks. So even with losing, I never faltered. I knew bodybuilding's a long game. These guys that are beating me, they're older than me. They've been competing longer than me.
You're probably were you the youngest person on the Olympia stage?
No. There's guys. I was one of the younger people. A lot of them are like late 20s, 30s.
Early 30s.
But there's a few guys. There's a guy who's 23. There's a guy who's like 24, 22. There's a couple young guys up there, and that's just like genetics.
Yeah.
The guy who placed 4th place, he's 23 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I mean, he has like the craziest physique. His name's Josema, and
I remember him. Yeah.
fourth place in the whole world, and you're only 23 years old. You have like this guy has got another 15 years if he stays healthy. It's like that's just like unreal.
Yeah.
You know, like just to even have that level of development at that age is like, how does that even happen? So
That's crazy. In terms of the anxiety part, you said bodybuilding saved you from anxiety?
I would say I didn't really deal with anxiety, never really have, thankfully. It was mainly, you know, like a self-image thing. You know, when I was younger and I was really, really skinny, didn't really like how I looked. I was not super strong. Even playing sports, you know, like wouldn't be able to, you know, perform that well in sports because I was so weak. You go to football practice, you just get thrown around, you know, because you're so skinny. So, you know, finding lifting, finding competitive bodybuilding, it's really allowed, you know, me to build myself up in a positive way.
Do you still see yourself in that light?
You know, I think every competitive bodybuilder is a little bit crazy in their brain to want to do this day after day. But yeah, I still look at my physique and I'm like, yeah, this is still small. This is still small. I gotta be
Do you think
better.
that's healthy? Because like I feel that way. I've always felt that way as well, and I don't know if that will ever go away.
I think it's a good thing. You could make the argument like maybe it's not healthy, maybe it's like some form of body dysmorphia, but I look at it like we're just simply not satisfied. Yeah, I'm proud of the body that I've built, but I still want more. Like, oh, I have a good set of abs, but like they could be better. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's weird because nobody in any other aspect like says anything negative about it, but like when it comes to body, it's like body image, negative body image, body dysmorphia.
No one else says how bad it is. It's just like our self-critique, bro.
But even like in any other form of like anything, you could have, you know, let's say you have $1 million in your bank account and you're like, no, I want more. People aren't like, oh, that's financial dysmorphia or something. It's, you know, it's like nobody.
It's the same though.
Yeah.
It is actually the same.
It's like, I look at it as a good thing. It's like, you know, we shouldn't be satisfied. Be proud of, you know, the work you've put in. But it's like, there's nothing wrong with wanting more and like wanting to improve, you know? So.
What are you most excited for now in your life that you've probably had the biggest professional career to date?
I would say right now, I'm most excited for just continuing to build on what I've done. I just turned 27 yesterday. So
Happy birthday.
thank you, bro. So I know I have a good amount of time left in the game. But I also am aware, like,
how do you stay longevity in the game? Because once you get to a high level of bodybuilding, obviously there's certain supplements or gear that you have to take. How do you stay in the game for as long as you can?
The biggest thing is just staying healthy. You know, making sure your blood markers are on point. I get
regular blood tests.
I get blood work 3 to 4 times a year.
Okay.
And I am very, very mindful of the trends of my blood work as well. You know, getting one blood work and it looks good, that doesn't tell the whole story. I like to look at the trends. So I'll look at like my kidney numbers, my liver numbers. Are they progressively getting worse, better? Are they staying the same?
Are you becoming a student of that? Like what they mean as well and everything?
Yeah, you have to. I have to as well because I have clients and, you know, I'll have them send me their lab work.
Yeah.
And obviously I have to be able to read it and assess, you know, what's good, what's bad, what needs improvement. So the biggest thing is going to be staying healthy internally. Because, I mean, if you just take a bunch of stuff, you're not going to last very long in the game. You might get to where you're going very quickly, but you won't stay there long. And then just, you know, being patient and, you know, not only staying healthy internally, but making sure your body is healthy, your joints. You're one injury away from your career being done. You know, if you blow out your leg or you, I don't know, tear your pec or something, it's going to be very hard to not only train to the same capacity, but it's going to be very, very hard to like compete at such a high level if you have a torn quad or a torn pec. It's very hard. So
what do you do to stay healthy, I guess, mobile wise and everything like that?
So I get body work, so massage work every single week, all year round.
Every week?
Every week, yeah.
Wow.
It's an investment, you know?
Yeah.
Like I look at
It's a lot of money.
I used to be like, I don't want to pay that much, but once I've gotten to this level, I'm like, this literally is my livelihood. I don't have any other responsibility outside of this. So I have to literally do everything I can to maximize this. Like, And it's crazy because some of these guys at the top level, they're getting body work done 3 times a week,
Really?
all year round. And it's like they do everything. So there's guys doing even more than me. But for myself, I get body work done once a week. I cold plunge pretty frequently. I hope to have one at my house one day because I would love to just cold plunge every morning.
Every day.
Infrared saunas, obviously. And then
Is there a good place in Fresno for like contrast therapy?
I know Trinity. They have a cold plunge, but also the other gym I go to, JB Fitness, that's here in town. They have a really, really good recovery room. They have an infrared sauna with the cold plunge in there. So I'll literally go in there, sit in the sauna for 20 minutes, sit in the cold plunge for 5 minutes. And then also they have a red light bed. As well. So they have a lot of cool stuff at JB Fitness as well. But yeah, as far as staying healthy, you know, cold plunge, infrared sauna, obviously making sure my sleep schedule is on point all year round. My health supplementation is on point all year round. So taking everything from liver, heart, kidney, you know, omega-3s, K2D3, you know, brain stuff, cortisol supplements, digestion supplements. It's like so much goes into it that like I could sit here for hours and hours and hours and tell you like everything that I take, everything that goes into it, why I take it, what time of the day I take it, how much I take of it. It's all very important, you know, staying healthy, having longevity in the game, because ultimately if you don't have longevity in bodybuilding and you're not going to last long, you're not going to make it to the top, because it's a game of patience. You can't build a world-class physique in a year, 2 years. It takes a decade, maybe more. And the only way you can do this for a decade is if you stay healthy.
Yeah. What do you love about coaching?
Honestly, I would say like I coach competitors as well. Not a whole lot, but
So it's not just competitors.
no, I coach predominantly lifestyle people.
Okay.
Honestly, my favorite thing is getting a check-in and I look at their weight log and they're like, hey, I lost 3 pounds this week. And I'm like, yeah, let's go, bro.
It's a win for
Hell
you
yeah.
too, right?
I love it. I'm hyping them up. I send them voice messages like, let's go, bro. Let's keep this up. Let's try to get another 2 pounds off. And then I love working with a client that actually gives you like more than a month. You know, sometimes they give you a month.
You can't do shit in a month, bro.
Yeah, they give you a month and then they ghost you. But I love when a client is like truly committed and they give you, say, 6 months, 3 months even. And then you go on your pic collage and you're like, this is the first picture you sent. This was today. And it's like their waist went from this to this. Their lower back went from this to this. And you send that to them and they're always the same reaction. Wow, I didn't realize that, you know, because they're not paying attention to their body as much as like the coach is. I'm analyzing everything. So when I'm able to see a transformation like that, I think that's my favorite part of coaching. I love seeing my athletes on stage too. It's like when you put all this effort into a contest prep, I mean, you're talking to the athlete every single day. You're peaking them for the show. Like your coach is like your best friend on a contest prep. And then you dial that person in, you go to the show, you see them on stage and they're battling. It's like, you know, it's like, it's very like, that's my athlete up there. He's battling it out and we're going to do this together. And then, you know, ultimately if they win or they place very, very well, not only are they happy and they're super grateful for all the work you did, but also as a coach, it's very gratifying. Like, I took this athlete and he did very well. I feel like I did a good job.
Yeah, it's like a win for yourself. Like just helping people. I think that's the human. I think it's the most human thing. Like it's you get more reward sometimes than you doing it for yourself.
Yeah,
You know.
for sure.
And I guess closing up, bro, like with your YouTube, with you as an athlete for bodybuilding, and just your mission for your life in general right now, what do you want people to know you as a bodybuilder, as an athlete, as a content creator? Like, what do you want to be known for?
I just want to be known for I'm just a normal human at the end of the day. And, you know, people may look at me like, you know, oh, he is on a different level or he's, you know, X, Y, or Z. But ultimately, like, I started from nothing just like most people. You know, I was 130 pounds, 8th grade. I was very, very skinny. And ultimately, I found a goal. I chased that goal relentlessly. And I've achieved a lot of great things that I'm proud of. And I think that can be an example to anyone in any area of life, you know, whether you want to go to school and you're like, man, it's 8 years of school. That's a long time. Ultimately, if it's something that you really, really want to do, like you will find a way to get it done. I want to be remembered and known as, you know, someone who didn't give up, someone who put their best foot forward all the time, someone who was relentless in their pursuit of achieving their goal. And ultimately, I just want to be able to inspire people with my story. And it's like, if I can do it, then you can do it as well. You know, I didn't come from some rich family and I don't have these superior genetics. I didn't have anything handed to me. I found a goal. I learned. I got better and better each year. I'm still getting better each year. And, you know, I'm just grateful to be able to have like a goal to chase on every day. You know, like there's nothing like waking up every morning with like a goal. You know, I would hate to not have. That's actually one thing I occasionally get emotional about, is knowing that like bodybuilding is not something you can do forever. I may only have 10 more years to do this. So that's really, really saddening to me, knowing like one day I'm not going to be able to chase this goal of mine, and I'm going to have to find a different passion, whether that be, you know, taking on more clients or whatever I may be into. But yeah, man, you know, just being grateful for having a goal and being able to chase that goal every day, and knowing that I didn't come from anything special, and if I can do it, then you can do it as well.
Let's put Fresno on the fucking map, bro.
Yeah, bro. That's the goal, man. We have to, bro. We got to keep doing, you know, the content, pumping everything out, podcasts, YouTubes, everything, bro. I mean, if content is out there, people will consume it. So, and as you know, the biggest thing with growing social media is just consistency, especially YouTube. You know, like this could be a hit podcast that does very, very well. But if you don't do another podcast for 6 months, it's like your channel's going to die down.
100%.
So even for you, bro, like keep up the pod, like keep reaching out to people. You never know. You may get turned down 9 times, but that 10th time they might, you know, want to jump on the pod. Then you just keep building your pod and keep growing it and continue to, you know, up the production quality and, you know, get better at editing and all these things. And, you know, if
it's all the micro skills, bro.
Yeah.
It's all the micro skills.
And if doing, you know, a podcast and building it to something really big is something that you're truly passionate about, then, you know, you're the only one that can stop you.
Yes, sir. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it, bro.
Where can everyone find you? And are you taking on new clients now?
Yeah.
Where can everyone look at your stuff?
So you guys can find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all the same username. It's just Andy P Bodybuilding, all one word. And then as far as coaching clients, I have my coaching forms in my Instagram bio, but also you can always just reach out via DM. I like to try to like talk to people on the phone, really, really message them in depthly and figure out how I can help them, what their goals are, you know, what I would do, what their goals should be, how I can potentially help them before they sign on. I'm not one of these guys that's just like, hey, here are my prices, take it or leave it. You know, it's a big commitment for a lot of people. Like you said, like a lot of people, they've never dieted before. They don't know.
Also, it's an investment. Like coaching's expensive, dude.
Yeah.
Like I make a living off fully coaching most of the time. And like, it's a lot of money. And people are spending their hard earned money that they're working at their job to pay you because they believe that you will help them. You know?
You're paying for a coach, but now you got to go buy chicken breasts. You got to go buy all this expensive, this stuff. The diet's not cheap either.
I think it's cheaper than eating out all the time.
Yeah, I think so. I
actually do think it's a lot cheaper than eating out all the time.
Yeah.
Like if you got Chipotle every day, I think it's cheaper than Chipotle every day.
Or even if you're like only eating twice a day, but you're Instacarting or DoorDashing every time, it doesn't seem like a lot. Oh, $15 here, $20 there.
Yeah.
But it adds up. You know, you'd be so much better off just like going to Costco or going to, you know, Trader Joe's and just getting some chicken breast, some jasmine rice, some potatoes, some ground beef, and just call it a day.
Do you have diet hacks real quick before we close up? Because like for me, I cook everything in bulk.
Yeah.
And I just weigh food out.
Yeah.
That's all I do.
So thankfully for me, I'm able to just kind of be at home all day because that's what I do predominantly. Content creation, pushing my discount codes, stuff like that for the brands that sponsor me, but also coaching as well. So it's a lot of just downtime at home.
Yeah.
The only time I really leave the house is if I got to go train or get groceries or something like that. So I cook all my meals fresh.
But that's nice.
But if I was like, you know, working full time, I had kids or something like that, and I still wanted to eat healthy, I would I usually tell my clients to meal prep for like 3 days and then meal prep for another 3 days. So
3.
if they're eating 4 meals a day, maybe they can make their breakfast at home fresh, but then those final 3 meals, just make 3 days worth of chicken breast, make 3 days worth of jasmine rice, put it in the fridge, buy, a 10-pack of Tupperwares for $5 off Amazon. And then it may seem like out of the ordinary, like prepping meals and bringing a Tupperware to work and heating it up in the micro. It may seem like totally random, but after a couple of weeks, it's like, oh, I actually like having structure. I like having food already made to have. I was just at the barber shop, and all the other barbers are always asking me like how to get ripped and how to get bigger. And this guy, he was like, hey bro, like I need to lose this. I need to lose this stomach. And I was like, well, it's going to be diet. 2 minutes later, his DoorDash order gets in, McDonald's. And I'm like, well, bro, look right there. And he's like, well, what do? I'm hungry. And I'm like, well, if you had food made and you brought food, you wouldn't order McDonald's. The only reason you ordered McDonald's is because you don't have any food with you. You're not prepared. If you had a prepared meal, chicken and rice or whatever it may be, you would eat that. And you would also save money by not going to get the McDonald's.
Dude, I made a story the other day. I made a steak with potatoes and broccoli, and it was like, I did the math for it, was like $18. Posted on my story, and I was like, I went to McDonald's with a friend the other night because it was like one of those club nights.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was like $25 a person. I was like, guys, it's actually cheaper to eat healthy.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like you think McDonald's is cheap, but it's not.
And then everything's inflated right now too.
Yeah.
Like McDonald's is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
There is no like a $2 for $3 menu. It's like you go order a Big Mac and a large fry, and it's like $15 or something. It's like what the? Yeah, it's crazy, bro. And that's like at every fast food place now too. Restaurants even as well. So, I actually try to mitigate. If I do have a cheat meal, I actually really like going to the store and like buying the stuff and actually cooking it at home, which I like too, because like
get a nice ribeye or something like that.
Yeah, or make some sweet potato fries in the air fryer. Like there's so many things you could do at home too. So
that's the thing though. I feel like sweet potato fries and potatoes in the air fryer, it's still just potatoes, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's healthy.
Exactly. So another diet hack is like invest into making your food taste good.
Yeah.
I see a lot of my clients, they're complaining about their diet. I'm like, send me a picture of your food, and it's like a plain paper plate with chicken breast that's not seasoned, frozen broccoli that does not look appetizing at all. Well, no wonder you don't want to eat this.
Healthy food could taste great.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
So
I think bodybuilding has a negative connotation in that light, bro. A lot of people are like, they just eat the same things and it doesn't taste good. And I was like, that's not the case.
you have to be able to cook your meals and like enjoy them, spice them up. Like my pre-workout meal, I have waffles and rice cakes and peanut butter, and it's like the greatest thing ever. My breakfast, I have an omelet with oatmeal, throw chocolate protein powder in there. It's like chocolate oatmeal. I have my coffee. I have my sugar-free Jell-O every day. I drink my diet sodas when I want, something good. And
Do you go ham on the cheat meals though? Sometimes
I used to go very, very ham on the cheat meals. I used to, because I've always been a big eater. I've always been able to put down a lot of food.
even when you were skinny, you could put down a lot of food.
Always. And especially post-show when the appetite's real high. Oh, I'm ordering multiple appetizers, multiple entrees. If I'm out to dinner with, say my family, they don't finish their food, I take their, hey, bring it over. No need for a box. I just finish everything. And even to where like I'm pretty stuffed and I feel pretty sick, I just keep eating. And then I order dessert, and then I'll go home. I'll have cookies and whatever else at home. I'll have a box of cereal at home. I'll have a pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream at home. And it would get to the point where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so stuffed I can't even walk. And then ultimately I'd be up like 10 pounds the next day. And then, when you get back on your diet, all of the water just comes off. But I over time, I realized I'm like, this is not good for my digestion. This is probably setting me back. And if, like we talked about earlier, if this is my profession, if this is like, I'm trying to be the best in the world, all these margins are very important. So like even if I'm setting myself back very marginally with these giant cheat meals, and my physique could maybe look 1% better if I just control them a little bit more, then that's what I'm going to do. So honestly, after this Olympia, I've been so proud of myself. I literally just I order one thing don't even order appetizers most of the time. I just order one thing, and then I limit myself to one sweet. So whether that be I order one of the desserts they have off the menu and me and my girlfriend split it, or maybe I go home and I have like one of those, they have like those cookies, you know, that are like stuffed, like kind of big ones you can order online. I'll limit myself to like one cookie.
Those brownies that you had.
Yeah, or like
crazy.
I'll limit myself to like one of those big brownies. When before it would have been the whole box.
Really? You put all of it down.
Yeah.
Is winning the Olympia the ultimate goal?
Yeah, I think so, bro. Honestly, obviously you never know what the future holds, and you know a lot of things have to align for that to happen. But aside from winning the Olympia, I think the biggest goal for me is just maximizing my potential. Remember how earlier you were talking about, like, you interviewed your grandpa and he was talking about he had all these regrets. I just don't want to look back at my career in bodybuilding and have like any regrets. Like, oh man, I wish I would have controlled those cheat meals better. I wish I would have went and did that competition, or I wish I would have followed my plan better. I want to do everything that I can now while I'm able to. That way, when I'm 40, 50, 60 years old, I could look back and be like, you know what? I gave bodybuilding everything I had. There's nothing more I could have done. And I am content, and I can like sleep well at night knowing there's nothing more I could have done. That's the best feeling for me. So
we only got one at bat, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, and then like I said, with bodybuilding, you don't get to do bodybuilding till you're 60, 70 years old. You can't. You can, you know, live a healthy lifestyle, but like you can't get on stage and compete as a professional and try to be the best in the world in your 50, 60, 70s. You know, you only have a very limited time to bodybuild, and while the body's still fresh and healthy. So really just want to maximize my career. And if I'm able to win the Olympia at some point, then that's amazing as well.
So we're going to clip that up when he wins the Olympia, guys.
Yeah, and I'll be sure to post it and be like, yep, a couple years ago, 2025, November 3rd, I said this, I spoke it into existence, and it happened.
Dude,
you know?
I'm so excited to see you on stage again. Thanks for coming on the show, bro.
Of course.
All the Andy's information will be below, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yep, sounds good,
Peace.
guys. Yep, peace.